Uh, Thank you so much, Harun, Elsa, and Camilla, for giving me this opportunity. I'm not sure you see the slides or not, but okay, and also the text, or you just see the slides? Can you just maybe confirm?
We see the slides, but they're not in present mode.
Okay, so, but is it visible? Because I have some technical problems, so maybe I need to keep that. Okay, perfect. So,
go ahead.
well, I am excited and super glad to join a very diverse group from different parts of the world, different continents. And also, once again, I'm quite grateful for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to a very fruitful and informative session all together. My contribution is about AI, the role of artificial intelligence in policy change and sustainable development. But to be honest, I do not really go into the detail, or I do not really want to make the topic quite complicated or sophisticated. I just touch upon the ideas, but I'm quite sure that Ritu, but also the rest of the workshop will give you more input and insight about the topic. So briefly speaking, I try my best to have 20 minutes, next 20 minutes to present my ideas, and looking forward to your comments and questions, and also, and then the rest of the workshop. Well, but today, as I mentioned, I'm going to focus on a concept and a notion that reshaped the landscape of the world in the 21st century, which is artificial intelligence. So if in the 19th century, electricity, lamp changed the world, and in the 20th century, internet changed the world, in the 21st century, we have artificial intelligence, and now we are just in the first half of this century. So who knows what happens in the years to come or in the decades to come in this century. But right now, artificial intelligence is a transformative technology that changed almost every aspect of our life. Well, as we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, AI stands not only as a technological marvel, but as a potent tool, as an enabling tool. That I describe artificial intelligence as an enabler or as an enabling tool for driving policy change and fostering sustainable development. And I'm going to delve into these topics, but before that, probably I need to at least share my understanding of what artificial intelligence is and how I describe it and how I characterize it. About artificial intelligence at its core refers to simulation of human intelligence in machines. So maybe this is the simplest one, and this is the most frequent definition that I may repeat, that the simulation of human intelligence in machines, allowing those machines and permitting those machines to learn from experience, adapt to new inputs, and perform tasks traditionally requiring human intelligence. So unlike conventional programming that we already use, for example, in the past couple of years through our PCs, laptops, that they require explicit and direct instructions, artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence tools and systems can analyze vast amount of data, identify patterns, and make informed decisions autonomously, and sometimes without direct involvement of a human or a person. So there are three primary categories for AI that have been recognized so far. So first is narrow or weak AI. The second one is general or strong AI. And the third one is artificial superintelligence. So these are three categories and somehow the classification of AI. So currently we operate within the realm of narrow AI. So we are still in the first category, designed for specific tasks, such as voice recognitions or image classifications or image creations. So these are some activities and examples that I think that you will work on a few of them throughout the workshop. So the pursuit of general AI with the ability to understand and perform any intellectual task a human can do remains a long-term goal. So the general AI is a long-term goal, and just imagine about artificial super intelligence that it covers and entails all domains, but at the same time raises some ethical considerations that artificial super intelligence does not require any type of human involvement, and that's why sometimes it's menacing or sometimes frightening. But yeah, if a good governance is practicing and exercise, I think we should welcome artificial superintelligence as well. So all in all, AI is here to stay. This is a fact of life that AI is here to stay and more integrated in our life. So the more we know about it, the better. And I think that we should not really demonize AI or make it as a monster that wants to conquer the war or something like that, but rather we should accept its existence, trying to mitigate its risks and challenges and amplify its potentials, like any other inventions, discoveries, and technologies. And I think that this event and this workshop is timely occasion for you to learn how to wield AI to your benefit and how to use it to different purposes that you may have. But before going to the two parts that somehow consider as my main two parts, I have these questions for you that I think that it is somehow intriguing. Well, I don't know how we can collect your input. Maybe we can use the chat box functions or different ways that maybe Camila or Khalum may help me. But I think that this question is not really about the peace or the gender violence or these topics that workshop really focuses on. But this is a question that I would like to know. I'm curious to know how AI can impact or how AI can enhance your work or your life. I mean, at personal life, your education, your studies, your work. So again, I'm curious to know your response to these questions, and we are looking forward to collecting some of your inputs and insights concerning this question. So maybe I need just to read if in case it is sometimes difficult. So in what ways would you like AI to help or enhance your work? And by work, again, simple tasks during the day at university, school, at work, in house, etc. Well, sorry. So let's start with policy change, and then we go to sustainable development. But very briefly, what policy change is. Policy change refers to the process through which modifications, adjustments, or transformations are made to existing policies or the formulation of entirely new policies. So these three key terms are very important, that modification, adjustments, or transformations to any existing policies. And policies are a set of guidelines, rules, regulations. So again, policy is a general term, is a generic term and concept, but consists of different things, guidelines, rules, etc. And policy change can occur at various levels. So it could be at local level, regional level, national, international, and it may involve change in different aspects. For example, change in law, in regulation, in administrative procedures, or I don't know, for example, in institutional practices and etc. So this is what policy change is, and I think the name reflects what it means and how we can understand from the term policy change. So I identify a couple of policy issues and policy sectors that how artificial intelligence can bring about change within these policy issues or policy sectors. But I will explain later, but I think that I just touch upon these ideas somehow not in detail, but quite generally. But I argue why I intentionally not go into the detail at the end of my presentation. So I start with data-driven decision-making. And this is very important because it's about decision-making at the leadership level or at the highest level of any organizations or any entity. So it's very important that how AI is going to impact policies at the decision-making level. So AI's proficiency in processing vast data sets. So we have data sets, we have massive data that enables policymakers to make informed decisions. So this is the positive side of using AI for analyzing, for understanding massive data that a single person or a group of persons or leader cannot really comprehend and make a conclusion from it in a short amount of time, but AI can help. So that's one example, an instance of how AI can help in decision-making level. Well, for example, AI-driven models can forecast disease outbreaks and allowing for proactive public health measures. And right now, after the pandemic and after COVID, so many research projects, so many policy projects are executing in order to implement AI to identify and predict the next generation or the next wave of pandemic in the future. So this is, I think, that could be quite tremendous. The second one is about enhancing public services. And again, it is very important. So the integration of AI in public services streamline administrative processes. So for example, chatbots powered by AI respond to citizen queries. So if you have a question, you can use chatbots, including ChatGPT that you are going to work on throughout the rest of the workshop, or any other chatbots that you may use on different search engines and browsers. So also AI-driven analytics is also improve resource allocation in areas such as transportation and urban planning. So those analytics by AI helps decision maker, but also the citizen know they're somehow inform them how to behave in a more rational way. For example, if you use AI tools and if you need to commute between your work and your home, so you can just check those AI and it tells you which way you should go and which way you should not go, and in what way what type of transportation you should do. So these are all public services that AI can facilitate and also sometimes accelerate the process of decision making. So there are some other areas such as climate change mitigation, but I believe that Ritu will address this topic, so I skip this one. But also about education revolution and criminal justice reform. I have two short paragraphs, but maybe I focus only on education revolution, that I think that if you hear the term smart schools or smart classroom, so these are all coming from artificial intelligence. All of them are helping students to learn more smoothly, but at the same time receive more information in a very coherent way. And I think that artificial intelligence and such smart schools or a smart classroom enable the teachers or also the school just to give massive information, but not to overload students, but in a very coherent way. So yeah, so these are different policy changes. You can also think about what types of policy that you are interested in. For example, if it is a peace, if it is gender violence, gender inequality, or any other policy, and then you can think how AI can help you. The most important thing for this is the power of imagination and also the storytelling. So these are two tools that you have and you can use in order to take benefit of artificial intelligence. Because artificial intelligence has two aspects. One is technical aspect and another one is somehow non-technical aspect. Technical aspect is somehow used by engineers, by technical people in order to create and generate that tool. But that I believe that most of you come from, for example, social science background or advocacy and etc. Or maybe you do not, or we do not have sufficient technical background, then storytelling and imaginations are very important. And by imagination and by storytelling, you can generate a very good AI-based text, or you can prompt. You can engineer prompts. This is a term. It is really an engineering. You engineer prompt, you engineer a text, and you feed that text to AI, and you ask a very good questions with a good introduction and instruction, and you receive a very good text from any artificial intelligence-based tools such as ChatGPT. So these two tools are very important, and if you want to really use artificial intelligence in the best possible way, so you should improve, or you should use best of your imagination and also your storytelling power. So please pay attention to these two key terms, and the rest of the workshop when you are going to generate image and text. These two key terms are very important. And again, I repeat, imagination and storytelling. Probably I do not have much time, so I just try briefly touch upon some, again, areas of sustainable development. So you know that we have Sustainable Development Goals. It's 17 goals developed, introduced, and promoted by the United Nations. So I just touch upon a few of them, but again, based on your interest and also based on the area of focus of this workshop, which is on peace, inequality, gender violence, and etc. So you can also think how AI or how text generations or image generation based on AI can help you. And again, I back to those two key terms, imagination and storytelling. So harnessing AI for sustainable development, maybe I can mention about renewable energy. And I think that it's very applicable to the renewable energy, that the transition to renewable energy is a cornerstone of sustainable development. This is very important for all of us. And AI plays a pivotal role in optimizing and enhancing the generation, distribution, and consumption of renewable energy. For example, predictive algorithms. AI is all about algorithms. And if AI has access to some predictive patterns and predictive models, it can forecast energy demand and knows which area of a city needs more power, which area needs less. So this is quite brilliant and beyond human capacity, because it requires maybe many people to involve, but AI can do quite easily and in a short amount of time. So this is one, in order to optimize renewable energy distributions and also generation, but also about biodiversity conservation. This is another area of sustainable development that AI, for example, can monitor and protect endangered species by analyzing vast data from remote sensors and camera traps. So again, it can help to save and protect endangered species, animals, and different creatures by using artificial intelligence tools. So this is another manifestation of the benefits of artificial intelligence for sustainable development. So we have smart urban planning, we have global health pandemic response. So these are areas, but I just try to skip this part, but probably you can find so many information about them. But at the same time, if you are creative, if you can use your imagination, and if you have a very good storytelling, then you can use those powers at your disposal to generate a good text, a good image, in order to draw attention, in order to raise awareness about the topic, and etc. And again, peace is one of the goals within the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm looking forward to your creative and imaginative contributions on how AI can help you to raise awareness and bring attentions to the concept of peace. And again, looking forward to your different approaches and different understandings of this concept. Probably this is my last or the penultimate slides. Well, there are some concerns. At the same time, I just try to somehow glorify artificial intelligence, but it has its own risks and challenges. And right now, at the UN level, but at different multilateral level or bilateral levels, efforts are underway just to regulate or govern artificial intelligence. So for several reasons. So I mentioned maybe a few of them here, but definitely the list is ongoing and you can add more or you can find even more risk and challenges. One is about bias and fairness. And for example, AI systems are only as unbiased as the data they are trained on. So if we feed artificial intelligence or chat GPT or any other tools based on misinformation and disinformation, then what you receive as a result is not true and is not correct. So this is one of the challenges. And just imagine a country or some bad people use such tools by providing wrong information and wrong data, and then they receive wrong results. And now you can imagine the consequences. So this is one big challenge that countries, states, different organizations, entities are trying to control, mitigate this challenge of bias and fairness. But also about privacy concerns. Some people have some concern about job displacement, that maybe sometimes you hear that by this time or by the next century, there is no job for human being and everything will be conducted by artificial intelligence. So it requires a sort of balance between human-based job and also artificial intelligence-based job. So these are some concerns that different stakeholders and different actors are working on in order to make that balance. But also security risks is very important. Artificial intelligence is not used by malicious actors or terrorists, for example. So this is very dangerous. And at the same time, transparency and accountability are another group of challenges and struggles that the United Nations and different stakeholders are trying to mitigate them through different legislations, through somehow seeing different rules, regulation, and etc. Well, that's it. And I think that I know that I mentioned a couple of times, but this is maybe my last part, that I need to reiterate the significance and the value of storytelling, particularly for the purpose of this workshop. And please take it seriously, and it is probably the only tool that many of us will have, and it would be ideal if it could be coupled with AI for further impact, for further visibility, and further outreach. And again, when you use ChatGPT or Midjourney to generate image, just think what story you can tell and what storytelling that you have at your disposal, and in what way you can present it and promote it to be more impactful, to be more visible, and to have more outreach. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to your comments and questions. Thanks. Back to you, Khaled.
Thank you so much, Mahmoud. That was a great and a very engaging input, and I think it shows the potential that AI can have. But we are not done yet with our keynotes, and I'm very happy to introduce Ritu David. She is the founder of the Dataduck, which is an award-winning UI UX design and branding firm based in Melbourne and Mumbai. And Ritu has over 2 decades of experience in product and UX design. So it's really it is a pleasure to have her here and to see what her view as also a BMW responsible leader with focusing on SDG 10 is when it comes to AI. Her keynote is also touching on understanding artificial intelligence and how it works. And I think merging both inputs together will give us a very good foundation for our workshop later. I want to remind you, if you have any questions, you can send them anytime, and we will collect them and use them later for the Q&A session. And with that, the stage is yours, Ritu. It's very great to have you.
Thanks. I'm really happy to be here. Can you guys hear me? And can you see my screen? Just checking. Awesome. Sweet. So yeah, I just want to let you know at the outset that I use AI to create this presentation for today, in keeping with today's theme of how we can use AI to help our workflows. So if you see any discrepancies, it's not me, right? It's AI. All right. So how good or bad AI is this is the test, right? So it's got a few things, right? Let's see how we go along the slides, right? So the first thing that I was asked to talk about is, what is AI, right? And to be frank, it is a really, really big topic, but to make it really succinct, AI is like, how many of you have watched Star Wars? I don't know if I'm too old here, but happy for me to give a Star Wars reference, right? AI is Yoda, all right? AI is Yoda, and you are Luke Skywalker, all right? So you need AI to guide you through life and your quest and, you know, whatever you're trying to do. Fight against which empire, I'm not sure. But basically, I would like you to think of yourself as the hero and AI as your guide, right? Now, sometimes guides mess up, so we can talk about that later, but this is just a way to frame a mental model for your mind, right? And the goal of AI, honestly, human intelligence can only stretch so far, right? So I really liked it when Mahmoud kept talking about storytelling, because do you know the way that you and I connect are through stories? And this has been for millennia, right? So something that AI can't take away from us is the power of connection, right? And the power of your ethics and the power of your words. So before you start getting really worried that AI will take your job, just remember you're Luke, and yeah, AI is just Yoda, right? Okay. So I'm just quickly going to show you what AI has done. From the 1950s, can you believe it? It's older than me. Not many things are. So here's a little quick, I think you guys can read it, but just 13 years ago, AI won Jeopardy, which is a game, right, against the human champion of Jeopardy. And now, today, 2023, almost 2024, AI has actually created this whole presentation. So we've come a long way, right? Now, it's mentioned, ChatGPT-3 is mentioned there. And a lot of people are like, oh, what is OpenAI? What is ChatGPT? And all of these are just tools, okay, that companies have. So Google has Bard, Microsoft has ChatGPT. Different software giants have different large language models, which is what AI is based on, right? So think of a large language model like a lake, and each of these dudes are like, or dudettes, whatever, what is they? All right, okay, whatever. The pronounless people are pulling things from this lake, and they're delivering to you bottled water, right? So which water do you like? What I really, really love that we're talking about today is, how can we harness AI for a sustainable and peaceful future? Now, it can be a catalyst for peace if peace is what you're fighting for as Luke Skywalker. So one of the things that I'll just like way back about long time ago, I used to work in national security, right? And one of the biggest things we used to try and predict was where is the next conflict going to be so that we can have preventative actions against it. Now, who's the good guy is not something I want to talk about today, but just think of instability, right? And let's think of preventing instability. So this is something I wish I could have used AI for in my previous job. And the piece, like you can literally identify where the next conflict area is. And so it allows for targeted interventions, right? And to foster stability. So here are a few things, right, that we can do with AI if people allowed it. We can allocate resources. You can actually put a whole like budget in there and be like, what's the best way to allocate this according to blah, 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 right? You can put in, you can say, look, this is something that's happening right now. How can we actually help? So perhaps someone on a platform is being very vocal, say on Instagram, and you want to do more than just talk on Instagram. Perhaps you can go into one of these AI tools and ask them what you, in your capacity as Luke Skywalker, can do for the world, right? Another thing is that you can ask AI who are the local leaders and groups that you can work with, right? So you can ask AI pretty much everything, right? And one of the best things about AI is that you can train it to respond to you. So the more you, and Elsa, I think Elsa has dropped in the chat that, you know, let's not share any personal information. Yes, but as you keep talking to AI, it gets better and better at responding to you. So don't share like personal information that you wouldn't want on the web, but yeah, you can have a chat without worrying too much about it. And I think the more you dive into AI, the more comfortable you'll feel. Just know that don't put your passport in or something like that, right? So AI is transforming economies completely, right? I mean, think about healthcare, predictive. So in the last, this is not a sob story. I'm giving you this as a, so over the last 6 months, my mother's been diagnosed with Parkinson's, had a heart surgery and chemotherapy, right? Now, if I knew this 1 year ago, perhaps I would have brought her closer to me. Do you know what I mean? Like in my capacity as a daughter to better support my mother. So predictive healthcare, predictive issues, I think are huge in terms of our capacity as caretakers and caregivers. So I'm just giving you an example of something that's going on with you right now and how I wish I had AI to help me, right? Now, environmental sustainability, if you look at 75 years from now, I've recently had a daughter, so my scale of thinking has changed completely. I used to only think about tomorrow, but now I'm thinking when my daughter Mara is 75 years old, what's the world going to be like, you know? And being a parent is very humbling because you realize you don't matter. But I want her to have a world that she can live in where people are not warring over natural resources. And I know that a lot of you are younger than me, so you might care about what the world looks like 30 years from now. So there's a lot of movements that AI can facilitate. And there's a lot of brainstorming that you can do with AI as your buddy, right? So, for example, just put in, how can I get my team, say you work with a team, right? Like you're doing a team group project, and you say, how can me and my team make this group project have as low a carbon footprint as possible, right? So one of the answers would be that if you're meeting remotely over this kind of Zoom call, I'm not telling you to do it now. I'm just saying one of the things that you could do is switch off your video, because by switching off your video on a Zoom call, you save 60% of carbon emissions from that call. Another thing you can do is have something called demand by demand. So when, instead of sending an attachment, which is probably something young people don't do, and it's more my generation, but instead of sending an attachment and replying all, right, keep it to something that can be pulled by demand only. And that can drop the carbon footprint of an email chain by 90%. So when you think of your workflows and you look at the carbon emission of your workflows, as students, as researchers, it's not, we're not the polluters, I get it, right? But ICT, information and communication technology, is going to be 14% of global emissions by 2040. And that's just around the corner, actually. Yeah, it seems like a long way away, but we'll get there very soon. Mara will be 16 and I'll have a sweet 16 party, and I hope things will be good by then as well. So yeah, I'm sort of starting a Code for Climate initiative. And that's something that I've been working on since Mara was born, and definitely AI has helped me brainstorm this initiative, and we're rolling it out next year. What's your role in this journey towards peace, guys, and girls, and all the others? Your role in this journey. I'm really clunky with the situation, but please don't cancel me. Like I don't mean to exclude anyone, right? Just tell me how to be better when addressing a group of people in the comments. So your role in this journey is really about using it to bounce off ideas, right? And also realize that you don't need to be always innovating on change. So you can just find out what's already happening, right? And take that template and apply it to your life, or apply it to your world, right? So I think there's a lot of really good templates out there. I can't see your comments right now, but I will shortly. But definitely all our actions aggregated will shape tomorrow. So yeah, macro movements happen from micro movements. So if all of us can just commit to something, perhaps by the end of this conference, AI for Peace, and hopefully we get to spread some micro movements, right? And hope for macro change. All right, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite AI tools, and I don't think Beautiful AI, which is the PPT generator that I used, has been very kind to other AI players. So I think Dhruv is on the call. He can just drop the list on the chat of what my favorite tools are. Just say everyone. Okay, cool. I'll say folks. Folks seems weird for me. I'll say is a very Australian thing. It sounds, doesn't, yeah, I'll figure that out. But Dhruv, if you can drop in, are you there, Dhruv? No? All right, no worries.
Yes, I'm here. I was sorry, I was trying to unmute.
So if you can just drop the list in the chat, right? Dhruv is my nephew, by the way. And yeah, unpaid labor from family. My favorites are Bard, ChatGPT, which are quite interchangeable according to some people. Notion now comes with an AI integration, but you've got to pay for it. Grammarly comes with AI integration, you've got to pay for it. Canva, you've got to pay for it. How We Feel is potentially my favorite app ever, right? And I'd really like it if you would just try it. It's free, download it, and feel free to tell me what you think about it. It's the biggest thing AI for peace can do is give you peace in your mind. And that's the goal of How We Feel. If all of us were less anxious, less stressed, perhaps we would respond instead of reacting. So I think at a very spiritual level, the real estate for peace is in your mind. And that's what How We Feel helps you do, I hope. I think my time must be over by now. It's over, yeah. Okay, cool, bye. Or I'm here for questions, I think. I'm not sure what the thing is, yeah. I'll just stop sharing.
Great. Thank you so much, Ritu. Oh, awesome. There are already like the cheat sheets for ChatGPT Mastery shared. It's great to see the engagement in the chat. Keep it going. That's really great. And it would be awesome to dive into the questions that both of you can choose who wants to answer. First come, first serve. We'll see. The first question is, how can AI help in changing the opinion of world leaders who are led by ego and personal gain over world peace and humanity? So the question is, how can you use it in persuasive communication, for example, for diplomatic efforts? What are your ideas on that, Mahmoud and Ritu?
I think Mahmoud works directly in this space. So Mahmoud, I think, I'm not sure. So sorry if I'm...
No, I mean, just my input on that question. I think that's a very good and great question, but maybe I need to slightly adjust these questions. Change is I think at the leadership level is a very strong term, and probably enable or empower or arm leaders with accurate information or sufficient information for decision making maybe is the right term to, or at least rephrase this question. I don't think AI or any other tools can change decisions, particularly given so many other elements are involving national interests, as also the question mentioned about egoism and etc. But artificial intelligence can provide leaders, not just leader of a country, but also leader at any organization and any entity, to access to sufficient amount of information, even massive information, but in a coherent way, and have access to that information in a short period of time. So these are tools that AI can facilitate and accelerate and make it easy for leaders. But at the end, since still we are at the level that human make a decision, particularly for a country, particularly for statecraft and etc. So then other factors are involving. But AI can help you at least provide you with massive information in a coherent way, in a very great way, that sometimes if you want to have access to them, it may take much time, or even it is sometimes not feasible. So this is my input on having sort of contributions of AI in decision making at the leadership level of a country.
Okay, so that was now a bit more focused on decision making when, for example, a leader wants to wants to access valuable information for their own decision making. Maybe Ritu, could you elaborate more on the question of, let's say, I'm an activist, and I want to convince certain stakeholders to change their opinion. Can large language models be a tool to use?
Yes. So I'll tell you how what I've used it in, and then you can extrapolate, right? So I had I've been trying to get something built in my backyard or front yard, whatever, depending on, I don't know, for a while. And my husband keeps saying, oh, something. So I went to AI and character AI, right? Which you can create the person, right? So I've created my husband in AI. And now I ask character AI, right? Listen, I need to tell my husband that we need to do this, but I need him to get on board. What hesitations might he have, right? So AI tells me the hesitations that he may have, right? And you know, sometimes, like think about that now, extrapolate it, because sometimes we can only look at things like this. We have a tunnel view, right? We're like, why don't these stakeholders, like, why don't these politicians create better roads in Mumbai, where I live, right? The roads are quite terrible. So you can just, how do you create a person? So you go to, sorry, I'm jumping. So I think sometimes we don't have their mental models, and we don't understand the incentives that their role, forget that. So there are two things, one as a role and one as a human. So when you layer incentives like that and you layer personality, you can then understand their mental models, right? So I think a lot of times with activism, we say things, but it's an echo chamber, you know? So sometimes looking from the outside in, which is something that AI can help you do by just saying, pretend to be blah, blah, blah. Now tell me what your problems with XYZ would be. So I think that would be, yeah, fun. And you can be like, oh, I want to ask my manager for a raise. What challenges may they have? These are my KPIs or whatever. So yeah.
I think that's a great transition to the next question, which is about sharing personal information with AI. The question is, does the AI know more about your husband than maybe his own mother? We don't know. Because you probably have fed the AI with some information, and it raises also interesting ethical questions. I find it really interesting. So the question here, for example, is a very specific one. It concerns authenticating your ID on Udacity for an online course, and that uses AI. It still, so when it comes to personal information, like what kind of transparency do we have when it comes to how does the AI use the information that we provide? Because next to the whole question of personal information, we have also the whole copyright issue, where an AI is fed with art of artists, and they have no way of preventing that. I know that new technologies that might be able to do that, but still. So what is your take on that when it comes to sharing personal information that you don't want to have widely accessible? What is it that you need to consider when using such tools? Ritu, Mahmoud. Okay, so I gotta decide. So Ritu first, and then Mahmoud.
Okay, cool. See, I come from business environment, and I think Mahmoud is in an academic space, right, Mahmoud? So I think the way we apply ideas is a bit different. So for me, if I ask AI to generate the presentation that I did today, right? And then I put my name on it, that's what I did, but I also said it was generated by AI. So the thing is that how much is the extended producer responsibility versus the consumer responsibility, right? So as a consumer, I will ask AI things, but the minute I use it in production, so for example, if I use it to then create something that I'm selling, which could be argued that this is something that I'm selling, but if I use that to create a website, then somewhere we can say this was generated by a large language model, right? So it's about what are you producing with that, right? And are we, but if you use it to spar, which is what we were talking about, right? And not just lift stuff immediately and put it there. I don't know, Mahmood, what do you think?
So artificial intelligence is not regulated universally or globally. So this is the big problem. And countries, sometimes corporations, for example, in my case, universities. So each level has its own regulations, rules, policies, etc. And if you follow the development of, for example, ChatGPT, you know that for some time it has been blocked by the government of Italy because of some privacy concerns and reasons. So it means that each country, each entities and stakeholder has its own policy, but it's not really globally acknowledged or globally approved. This is one point, and that's the challenge. But if I want to address the ethical perspective, I try to simplify the argument by saying that the way I use internet is exactly the way I use artificial intelligence. So if I use internet for good purpose or bad purpose, for hacking or for learning, I think the same applies for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, at the end, again, according to my understanding and my definition, is an enabler. So it hasten or it accelerate the process that might have taken so much time if you couldn't use AI. So if you have certain personal guidelines, policies, rules for yourself to use internet, to use web, the same exactly applies for artificial intelligence. And there is no difference because, again, AI is an enabler.
So, okay, let's frame it differently because it was raised in the chat. Let's make it very practical. So I have a prompt, and the prompt says, I have an issue with my coworker because he always eats, I don't know, sausage bread, and the sausage has a very I don't know, I don't like the smell of it. Let's put it very practical. So and then you use this as a prompt and you ask ChatGPT, then what can I do to solve the issue that my coworker does not eat that sausage bread? What does that, like, is that information, maybe you can clarify that, is that information now accessed by by OpenAI when it comes to ChatGPT? Is it accessed by OpenAI? Can they use it to make a profile on you that you have issues with sausage bread? So maybe you can help us understand on a more practical level what it means if I share this data within a prompt.
So for
yes,
me,
read to you
yeah.
first. Yeah.
Cool. Exactly as Mahmood said earlier, I'm just trying to remove the chat because I can't see anyone. I don't know how to see everyone. Anyway, whatever. So one second, I'm just getting very distracted by the chat. So the question was, so do you know how one day you're talking about something? Has this ever happened? So put up your hand if this has happened. One day you're talking about wallets with someone, and the next day you're getting a lot of ads, or the next second you're getting a lot of ads on Instagram for wallets. Has that happened to anyone? Raise your hand. Not wallets and whatever, like insert whatever, right? So one person, yeah, it's happened, right? So my question is, we've been doing this without knowing for years. Now you know. And now that you're aware, what are you going to do with it? That's up to you, really. But large language models have existed for ages, and they just haven't necessarily been made public.
Yeah. Mahmoud, do you want to add to that?
Well, no, I think Ritu is complete and addressed everything quite perfectly. It's all about large language models. So whatever you type in any websites, ChatGPT, Bing search engine, or etc., it's collected because that chatbot, or that, again, for OpenAI, ChatGPT, use the already received information and provide the responses. So it's all about language models. So that's why one of the concern is that if a group of people or a single person or a country tries just to provide misinformation and disinformation, it requires a sort of firewall inside ChatGPT in order just to filter and not to receive all informations with no filtering or with no any requirements. So you can provide easily all type of disinformation. And if one person in another continent asks similar questions based on that model and based on the large language model, can receive a wrong result, because ChatGPT or any other tools has already received wrong information and provide a response to another person somewhere else. So these are, that's the challenge, that's the ethics. And I think that all countries, United Nations, a different level, the European Union, I mean, I make an example of European Union because there is a general data protection regulation, GDPR, but maybe in other countries or other blocks in Africa, in Asia, in North America, it may exist or not, but the European Union tries to regulate it and to protect citizens from such risks, including ethical consideration. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If I may say something just for a second, like, can I take 20 seconds?
Yes, 20 seconds. Go for it.
20
because
seconds.
my next question is also for you, Ritu.
Sure. So if you Google extended producer responsibility, which is something that is big in Europe, and in the EU, sorry, and put a lens of information on the extended producer responsibility, that would be an interesting lens to put into what ChatGPT reads rather than pushes out. Yeah.
Okay, my next question, and I want you to keep it short because the time is running out, Ritu. You are an advocate for carbon awareness, and the question that we have here is that that artificial intelligence seems to have a negative impact on the environment. So it said that an innovation expert was saying that each time we ask ChatGPT a question, we are burning a forest. They may have exaggerated, but it would be good to know what's your take on that, because I think as you are in carbon awareness, you probably have a stance on that.
I think I'll just talk to you a little bit about Code for Climate. You won't find it online, but we're launching soon. Working really hard towards launch. Okay. So think of yourself as in your workflow, right? So in your workflow, if you Google things, you ask questions, you join a Zoom call, and you just think to yourself, what is the alternative? Do you know, like, so for example, at a conference that I attended recently, some people outside the carbon area didn't fly in. Like there was like a ring of carbon emissions that they felt were okay, and people didn't fly in. So it's all about, when you're creating something in your normal workflow, just be aware. The challenge is that people aren't aware, and you're not burning a forest, don't worry. But it is about sequestration rather than offset, right? So how much can we offset? And why can't we just reduce the amount of carbon that we do emit during things? So like, for example, every time I talk to Dhruv, who's on this call, I tell him to switch off his video. Sometimes video is needed, but I just feel like, if 60% of the time I can just 60% of carbon emissions that I can reduce by switching off my video, then sometimes it's needed, but is it really needed all the time, right? So it's just these tiny things, like also the scrolling endlessly on Instagram, right? So every viral reel that has gotten more than 1 million views. I'm sure you guys have seen things that have got more than 1 million views. Have you? That is equal to driving around the world 10 times.
Oh, wow. You got to process.
Process that, right? So now when you're scrolling your Instagram and being like, these old people are wrecking the climate, and I'm really young and I'm going to look at Instagram, I'm not telling you to stop. I'm just telling you to be aware.
I think I've never heard a better excuse to stop doom scrolling than saving the rainforest. So that's a good one. I didn't know that. So let me turn to the last question, and I want to give both of you. I ask both of you to give your idea, short and precise, on ways that end users can contribute. So we all to make artificial intelligence better or less biased, because that's still a thing, still something that we have to consider. Mahmoud, what's your take on that? And then Ritu, what's your take?
Well, if the question is about how to make AI less biased, and if I understood correctly, I think that it is realistically impossible. I mean, you cannot really expect internet to be less biased or be clean and everything, and for other technologies. So AI, same. So the way I use is, I think, is very important, and not relying solely on the input that I receive from artificial intelligence. So that's why, in addition to using technology, it's good to have, and I make an example of myself, to have technology literacy and intelligence, how to use them. So you should not really, I should not really close my eyes and type the prompt and ask the questions, and whatever I receive, I accept with no questions or with no doubt. I mean, when I know different sources, then sometimes I can verify, etc. So there is no solution for these questions, that no bias or less bias. I think it exists and it's going to be amplified. But what is important comes from my side and my knowledge and my literacy.
Thank you. Ritu.
Yeah, ditto what Mahmoud said. Bias and all this stuff exists in the world, and that's why it exists in AI, because we fed it in. So if you're expecting I like to split myself into flesh, bones, and data, right? So my flesh and bone self is in the offline world. If whatever I experience in the offline world, maybe, I don't know if I do or not, discrimination, I will experience, my data self will experience it, right? So all I can say is echo what Mahmoud said, and go back to what I said before, which is, if your mind is at peace and your mind is fair, then what you produce will be peaceful and fair.
Mm-hmm.
So as we produce, because all of us are producing, the words I'm talking about are being fed into an LLM right now. So as long as we produce peace and we produce fairness, it's all we can hope for.
So it's about what we feed the machine, and then it kind of mirrors us. Okay, thank you very much. I have seen there are still some questions that you might have there. I see one question in the chat that I think is very important on the future implications of embracing AI in the future of global education. We unfortunately do not have the time, but I think we can send this question first to our guests, and maybe they have an idea that they can share. But I also think, Afyong, as you have asked this question, maybe this is something that you can explore also in the breakout sessions when interacting with the AI, and maybe you find also some ideas there on how to embrace AI in the future of global education. And with that, I want to thank very much both of you, Mahmoud and Ritu. I think we can give like a round of applause virtually. That would be great. Thank you. And with that, I would like to take over, if you don't mind, and give a short introduction into prompt design. So thank you, Ritu. Thank you, Mahmoud, for this wonderful input. So let me see if I can share my screen with you. Maybe some of you feel the need to get something to drink, to refresh yourself. If you want to do that, feel free to do so, because you need full concentration later on in the workshop. So if that's what you want to do it. And aside from that, I will give you a short input to what prompt design looks on a very practical, from a very practical perspective. So let me see. I want to share my screen. And I want to share with you, let's see, this works. Okay, give me a second. Okay, you should see my presentation. I'm not sure if it... Can you give me...
yeah.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so you have the design, so you have the presentation mode, right?
Exactly.
Okay, great, awesome. Just let me see if I can do this. Okay, yeah, and now you should see me in the small corner on the screen, right? Okay, awesome. So I'll give you a short introduction into prompt design, and I want to show you what it looks like in real life. And I will give you this introduction with regards to ChatGPT, and also with regards to Midjourney, the image generator that we will be using. First and foremost, you need to understand the prompt is an instruction. It's an instruction in natural language that you give to a machine. It's the way that you communicate with a machine that is able to understand natural language, and that transforms this prompt, this natural language, into machine language, and by that is able to create an output. And the way that you talk to the machine is crucial, because it influences the quality, the relevance of the generated content. Basically, it means the better you know how you can effectively communicate with the machine, the better the output will be. So it is important that you understand in which way, in which, for example, structure it's good to talk to the machine. So you can and I will show you that. So you can give the machine a specific role. Ritu talked on character AI. It's basically you tell the machine that it should behave as a certain character. You can also give the machine certain instructions on who you are targeting with the output that you want to generate. You can give instructions on the how to say, you can also give instructions on which knowledge to use. So I want to give you, before I give you an example, I just want to give you these tips. So you can, it's important to use like very clear and specific prompts. So use clear language, be as clear as possible, use short sentences, for example. You can, if you want to add emotions, you can add emotions. If you want to have like a very creative output, you can use open-ended questions. And yes, it is important to provide, for example, also context and constraints. And I would like to show you how this could look like in practice. Let's see if I can share with you my browser. Okay, just give me a second. Just looking for, let's see, I can share the, I stopped sharing. I will share with you my screen now. Second. Sorry that it takes a bit longer, but we get there. Yes, here we go. So what you see here is not the typical interface of ChatGPT. It is the interface of the so-called playground by OpenAI, where you can play around with different models of GPT, which is the large language model. And I give you an example right now where we give here on the left side, you can see we have basically the character description, which is you are an activist fighting gender-based violence. You do not necessarily in ChatGPT, for example, have to put it here on a specific window. You can just use it within ChatGPT. For example, you could write, if this is the ChatGPT window here in the middle, you could also write something like your role is an activist, etc. And you can also use more, let's say, language that is more machine-like. For example, you could write something, but if there's someone on your side who is programming, you might know this this way of typing. You could write role, and then you could say activist fighting gender-based violence. And then you could say // role. And then the machine understands, okay, everything between role and / role is activist fighting, that means the role is activist fighting gender-based violence. So you have different ways of communicating with ChatGPT. And so let's say we keep it like that. So the role is you're an activist fighting gender-based violence, and then you say create a short, convincing speech that advocates ending gender-based violence, and then you push submit, and then there's a speech generated. And now you can change the output. So let's say, for example, create a short, convincing speech that advocates gender-based violence. Okay. Every sentence should start with the letter A. The target audience are male politicians in India, and the speech should rhyme. And then we say submit. And then you see you have an output that says, as male leaders and politicians, you have the power to make a significant impact. So it basically tries to adapt it. So we definitely, see that it's addressing male leaders and politicians. The sentences always start with an A. I don't know if the rhyming worked, but this is how you can specify it. And what you could also do, and then I'm gonna stop right there, is you could also add context. So basically, if you have an article on, let's say, gender-based violence that has important information, you could also copy and paste this article here. Sometimes you have constraints and you can't introduce the whole article. And for that, there is something else available now from OpenAI. It's called custom GPTs. This is not something that we will touch on in this workshop. If you're interested, there are a lot of tutorials, but maybe if you're interested to do this in a workshop format, we can do this another time. What a custom GPT basically is, you not only say you have a specific role, for example, you are an advocate to end gender-based violence, you could also say these are 10 books or 10 reports from which you need to get your info when writing speeches or create content for social media. And then you have a tool basically to scale up your content production. But that's not what we are focusing here on. Here we are focusing on basically just testing out the communication between you and the machine, or between you and your guide Yoda, to use the metaphor from Ritu. All right. I will return now back to my presentation. Let's see, I have a minute or so left, I guess. It's just quick and simple. So basically, in Midjourney, it works the same. So Midjourney, as you will see, you will gain access to Midjourney also through the Discord chat. And basically, it works the same. You can use natural language to talk to the model in order for it to create images. But you can also use specific terminology that's important for image generation, such as let's say you want the image to be shot with a specific camera lens. You wanted to have a specific atmosphere. You want it to have it in a specific style of an artist, for example. These are all things that you can use, and you just use natural language to describe as specific as possible the image that you want to create. Don't be afraid by the possibilities that are available for you, and yeah, just explore this technology, and I hope that you will find interesting outcomes that might also help you in your further work, or at least as a good basis or for discussing the use of artificial intelligence for advocating for peace. And with that, I want to hand over to Camilla, which will continue from here.
Thank you, Khaldun. And I just want to say first, thank you, Ritu and Mahmoud, also for the keynote speech. Thank you, everyone who interacted. I'm super excited for this next segment. So I will first just do a temperature check. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're here with us, if you're liking the session, how you're feeling? And I don't know what's happening. I think I gave a thumbs up, and then AI just generated some sort of like a reaction around me. So that's super cool. Great. Yeah, so let's talk about the hands-on activity. So in a minute, you will be all sorted into different breakout rooms. You'll be sorted into 4 breakout rooms. And we're actually going to put you to test on using AI, ChatGPT, and Midjourney for Advoxy. I have sent a link in the chat for Discord. I will send it again. So please join our Discord server. And in Discord, you will see a chat generating, text generating space, and a image generating space. So you can look through these. I don't know what's happening. I can't seem to share my screen and be able to share that with you. Just give me a second. And we're also using another tool to guide you through it. So what Khaldun just said was super important, and I hope you got everything and you took notes. But if you want to, oh, there you go, I think. Okay, yeah, I won't be able to share my screen. Zoom updated, and I could not share my screen. So Khaldun, I don't know if you are able to share your screen and show the Miro board that we're using. I shared this Miro board with you also on email, but I'm sending you the board link again. And here's what we're gonna do through Miro. And thank you so much, Khaldun, for sharing your screen. But basically,
sorry, I have to show that I'm human.
Yeah. So basically here you have Discord, and I am hearing all the notifications that you're joining. So this is Miro, and Miro is a tool that you can zoom in into specific text, just like Khaldun just did in the welcome segment, or you can zoom out and see the whole board. As I said, you'll be divided into 4 groups. So breakout room 1 will work on group 1, breakout room 2 will work on group 2, and so on and so forth. And here you have, as you can see, Khaldun, if you can zoom in into group 1, just so I can explain the steps. You see it's very simple to use. So you first start here, you follow steps 1 to 4. The first thing that you do in this, where you see the 1, is an icebreaker. So just ask these questions to your team, and then you can write a little bit about each other. Then you move on to creating a prompt. There you go, you can write there. Then you can go up to the pink box, and then in the pink box, it will be about brainstorming on your prompt for ChatGPT. As Elsa said, right in the beginning of this segment, in the session, we are here to talk about 16 days of activism. So we gave you 2 different themes or topics. You can choose which one you want to work with. The first theme or question is, what does a gender equal world looks like? And then the second one is, what is a safe city for all? So you can just follow the steps. So the first thing is, if you choose what does a gender equal world looks like, you'll answer the boxes underneath it. What is a safe city for all? You answer the box underneath it, and then you do that as a group. You move on through the steps, and then as you go through these and understand what you're trying to say and generate your prompt for ChatGPT, then you'll be able to generate your prompt on step 3. After you have your prompt ready, you go to our Discord channel. As I said here, you go to Discord where it says text
Oh, sorry.
generating. That's okay. So you'll see a channel right in the right part where it says text generation, and then you can just start there. You have to do tab, and then you will see the option for ChatGPT. And then, as Khaldun said, after you generate your prompt, you can ask follow-up questions and tweak the response in the way you want it. So can you shorten it? Can you use simpler words? Can you make it longer? Can you make it more conversational, etc.? And then after you have your prompt with ChatGPT, we move on to Midjourney, which is the blue box right next to your step, which is the Midjourney brainstorming pad. The same way that we did for ChatGPT, we're gonna style your response or your prompt in a way that makes more sense for Midjourney. So the first thing is, how do you want to represent your text? So let's say that you generated a story, a dialogue between 2 people talking about, their wishes for a gender equal world. How do you want that conversation to be styled? So for example, let's say I want to do it in a comic style. Then what's the description of the image? I want 2 people talking in a classroom about their wishes, and they're doing that because they're, in an essay writing class. So you just imagine, brainstorm, think about your storytelling as Mahmoud was saying right in the beginning. And then after you have that idea in your mind, that's when we'll craft the prompt for Midjourney. I gave you here in the blue box a prompt generator for Midjourney. So if you want to use that one, it will give you a better prompt for Midjourney. And then after you have those ideas, again, I'll give you a simple example on how to structure your Midjourney prompt. So you fill in your prompt, and then after you do that, you go back to Discord, and then you go to the image generating chat, and then you will tag me at Camilla at Red Dot Foundation with your prompt, and then I'll generate the image for you. After that, you can just download the image that's related to your prompt, and then you go all the way up into our Miro board, and you will see a story sharing board. And then here you have group 1, group 2, 3, and 4. And you can just paste your image there. So all you have to do is just click on the box, and then on the right side, right next to the plus sign in the end, there is a arrow up, and that is for uploading an image. And then you can paste the text in this gray box here. I will be zooming around the rooms and then helping you out with anything that you need. Khaldun will also be doing the same thing. So you can also, so you can have everything you need. And with that, I think we're ready to start, right? Khaldun, do you want to say anything before we go into breakout rooms?
No, that was a wonderful introduction. And again, props out for this amazing mural that you designed.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. And yeah, so why don't we get started? Get ready. It's gonna be super cool. Remember to start by introducing yourselves. You guys will have 55 minutes to do this, so you have time. Don't need to rush, but also remember to keep yourselves within the times. We'll be there, and all rooms are open now. So I will see you all there. You can see probably the link to join your room. And if you are on your phone, you just have to swipe to see the invite to your room. So I will wait for you to do that and we'll see you there. So again, if you are in your phone, just swipe left, I believe, and then you'll be able to see the link to join. Go. So Matenta, let me see if I can send you to your room. Okay, maybe they are in a bathroom break, but yeah, I'm excited. Okay,
Yeah,
so
me too.
yeah, you are in room 3, so if you want to go there, I will zoom around the rooms.
All right, I'll just get something to drink, a cup of water, and then I will join the other rooms. All right.
Okay. Hi, Caroline. So Matenta and Candela, are you able to go to your breakout rooms? Hi, Lucas. Is there a problem? Are you able to go to your breakout room? Lucas, are you able to unmute and tell me if you need any assistance? Yeah, sorry, I can't talk. Okay. Are you able to join your breakout room or are you in a space that you can talk, right? Okay. I was just listening, but I can't talk. Okay. So there are two people in your room. So if you want to go back and then just let them know that you can just listen, that you can't talk because of the environment that you're in. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. Okay. Thank you. Wait, sorry, I didn't see you. Wait, I don't know. Let me see. Okay. Let me move you to room 1. What's up? You should see the invite. Hi. I just noticed that I was muted. So what happened? I saw people leaving this room.
Yeah. Hi, Camila.
Hi. So what's up?
एक तो थोड़ा धीमा करो.
Sorry, I
Yes. Yeah,
couldn't.
hi. I just reached home and I get access to my computer so that I can use Miro Desktop and join the activities.
Okay. So Lucas, I know, is unable to unmute. He's in a space where he cannot unmute. So maybe you, Prem, and Dante could have a conversation, and then Lucas can interact with you guys in the chat. Does that work?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so do you have, here's the link for the Miro board, and then the link for Discord. Please call me if you need any assistance, okay? I'll be back in a bit.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
Hi, Oha. How are you? Are you able to join a breakout room?
So, like everyone should do an introduction. You have a feedback, everything, you know.
I'm writing my icebreaker on the Milo Myro.
Hi. So maybe Fiamma, are you able to share your screen and then you can go through the Miro board with everyone and then you can just do the brainstorming all together? What do you think?
Okay, but I will need the link again because I was doing it on my phone
Okay.
and I'm on my iPad connected on Zoom. So I was going through here, but I can do it.
Okay. I just sent the link again in the chat.
Okay.
And I think this is gonna be super cool. We have here with us Caroline, who's our Safe City representative from Kenya. So yes, please enjoy the conversation, and I cannot wait to see the results from your prompts. And Pygmy, if you need anything, okay, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. Okay, I'll be back. Hi, Prem. I just assigned you to the room that you're in. Okay? Hi, Christine. How are you?
Hi, Camille. I'm good.
Great. So we are in a workshop with breakout rooms. I just sent you an invite to join a room, so you can just click on
Okay.
invite and go to that room.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Sexual harassment.
Hi.
Can you turn off the recording?
Yes. Recording. Welcome back. Welcome back. We'll just have everyone join in a second. And I want to say thank you to and a big shout out to Oshan, who is in the Philippines. It is almost 1 a.m. In the Philippines. So Oshan, huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for still being here. Thank you so much for everyone who is super late in the evening in India. I know it's almost 10 p.m. So thank you so much for being here. Yeah, just I would say yes, congratulations to all of you who joined, and it's late. And yeah, we'll just give everyone a few more minutes to come back. I think everyone is back. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and then quickly do our presentations? Khaldun, do you want to say a few words before we begin with the group presentations?
All right, now I'm unmuted. Yes, I hope that was an interesting experience for all of you. I hope you have used it not to create something perfect, but to have an experience what it's like to talk with this kind of machine. And I'm very, very interested in the output that you have generated. And I would love to if each group could read out a bit of what you have created, tell us something about the image, the text, the image, and also some about the issues you have maybe faced, the thoughts that went through your mind. And yeah, that will be great. Yeah, let's do it like that. And let's start with group one.
So for group one, maybe Prem, would you like to unmute and then talk about what you guys designed?
Sure. Maybe I think Dante would be a better, colleague here. But let me give you some context. So basically, what we did is we chose a short story as the final output. And so we started by answering what does a gender equal world look like to us. And I think pretty much all of our answers would be similar. And we came up with safe and inclusive environments, equal opportunities, differences are seen as something good. So this is what these were the main characteristics of our gender equal world. And then we went to the main characteristics of it. I'll not go into the detail of it, given the short time. And how do people feel about it? How and on top of it, what is the best way to tell? So of course there are poems and there's music and there is movie. But we came across a very short story, and after certain rounds of prompting, I think we got a really good story. Dante, would you like to add something to this?
I think he might have dropped. Oh no, he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So what you see on the right is the short story, and the image is what you see is the final output based on some. But again, I was very confused because we had several good quality and also varying, images generated by AI, and it's difficult to choose the best of it, which is one of the challenges with AI, I would say. Yeah, Dante, could you share some thoughts?
Yeah, so we got, after some attempts, we got a very good start through ChatGPT, and the image from the Midjourney, which we had to make some iterations to get this prompt, but
Yeah. So I'm very happy that we could finally use AI for peace, at least in theory, at least in digital, and hope to bring it to action someday. So what I'll rather do is that next time I go for a conference or an event like this, I would take this practice of actually using AI to generate some output, which we can put into action. So let's say if we publish such stories, it could be of good inspiration to children and youth and everyone. Yeah, I think we'll end that. Thanks.
Awesome. I think that's a great call for action. We can actually discuss if we want to reuse what we have created here. Not to say that it's the perfect product that we've created, but maybe that's something that's also food for thought. And yeah, maybe afterwards we should stay in contact and think about what to do with the outcome. So let's head to group 2.
Okay, that's my group. I'm really proud of what created. We choose the safe city topic. We ask ChatGPT to generate a poem for a local government campaign in an old-fashioned style about what it's like to be in a safe city, and mostly when it comes to women that are the main target for when it comes to living in a unsafe city, because we are sometimes scared we get robbed, we get assaulted. So what it will look like for women to live in a safe city and what is this important. So it created this poem that I'm really proud of. It looks so pretty, and I like this part where it says, women treat with ease in peaceful stride, their spirit free, no fear, no need to hide. It's really pretty what it created. And then we asked it to create an image like in a medieval style of women enjoying their time outside, seeing like they have no fear, that are living in a really safe space and can enjoy the time together with no worries about if something's going to happen to them. So that's what we did, and I'm really proud of. I don't know if someone else wants to say something of my team.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, so it was really amazing because when we decided on the topic, I didn't expect this result because I was thinking about safe cities in the modern context, and to see this image, it threw me way back to what safe cities actually meant, even in the very old times, and how much we would have to do to bring such a dream into reality in today's context. And it was amazing working with my team members. And unfortunately, Innocent and Caroline had a few technical hitches, and I really hope they were still able to learn something from the process.
Great. Awesome. Let's head over to group 3. That was the group that I was in, and I would love Mutinta to say something, and the others can add. But I would love to have Mutinta to discuss a bit what we have created here. Sorry, it's a song, as you can see, but yeah, Mutinta, go for it.
Thank you. So we decided to do the gender equality topic, and we decided that we wanted to do a song. So the song is supposed to be sung by a Zambian girl, and there's also going to be a verse that's done by a Zambian boy. And we decided to do it from a low-income area called Kanyama Compound. And basically, the song is to encourage young girls, especially, to like just step into their confidence, find their light, and to not feel like they have to be held back by anything. And the essence of the boys' verse is basically to just compound that idea. So we came up with like the prompts, and we came up with, initially we asked for like one verse and a chorus, but it gave us a whole song. And we also came up with the album art for the song. So it was a really cool experience, especially that we specified that we wanted some Zambian words. So we wanted some words in Nyanja, which the the AI didn't quite get right, but I do like that it tried to incorporate like some African languages. So I don't think it knows any Zambian languages very well just yet, but we did get some Swahili, which was pretty cool. So it was a really cool experience, especially to see how it came up with like the words and the verses and everything. So it was a really cool experience.
Great. Anyone else who would like to add something from group 3? All right, great. Then we can move on with group 4.
So group 4 got dispersed into 2 different groups, group 1 and group 2. But before they did, and maybe Elsa and Osha, do you want to talk about your initial ideas? And when they dispersed, I went ahead and then just got their prompt and made the image and the song. But maybe I'm not sure if they're, yeah, Elsa, do you want to talk about what was the idea behind the song?
So I don't know if Oshan is there, but he can talk about it. We picked the Safer Cities thing as well, and we wanted a song for young people to connect with themselves, but also to talk to policymakers in a way that would inspire movement. Yeah. And Oshan, you want to add?
Actually, I think that's it. Like we couldn't work much onto it, but like for me, like as personal learning, I realized like this is like the planning phase of our advocacy work, and like after we get to this far, we are going to work on using AI to like build on that. So like it's really good to like go that journey and then getting connected there. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Like, and then we have a second group, is that right? Like a second group 4?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Awesome. Great. So basically, we had a wonderful journey. And with that, I head back to Camila.
Thank you, Khaldun. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who stayed for the whole 3 hours. And I hope it has been an amazing journey, an opportunity for you to understand a bit more about AI. Effiong, I hope that the answer that you got from the questions that you had from the beginning got answered during the activity on how to use AI. And I really love what Osha just said, that for you to generate a good prompt, it's all the advocacy work that you have to do behind it before you put that into ChatGPT. And at least for me, knowing that, it makes me feel very safe in a way that, it's not the machines taking over the world, but it's a really good tool that we can take forward to promote what we're trying to do in our work. And I think that's all about, how to use AI for peace. We talked a lot in the keynote speeches about data prediction and predicting new policies, predicting climate and all of that. But if we take a step back or a step under that and just use the tools that we have available, ChatGPT 3.5 is free to use. So it's what's available to us, and then we turn that into a good thing. I think that's the first step into creating a more peaceful or gender equal world. In terms of 16 days of activism, I just thank you all for being here. This is exactly what the campaign is about bringing awareness and talking about how do we get there, how do we bring gender equality and make the world a better and safer space for women and girls and everyone who's suffering from SGBV. I see that we have a question in this exercise that we use the AI tools that are not for free. Can we also do the same detailed work we did with free tools. Yes, Kaundudu, would you like to answer to that question?
If you want to answer, I just wanted to say, yes, there are models that are for free. Like if you use ChatGPT, for example, that the model that we have used right now, that's also the free model that you can use with ChatGPT. When it comes to Midjourney, yes, it's a paid service, but you have solutions such as Stable Diffusion, which is an image generating model that you can use for free. And that, for example, would be an alternative. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. There are some models I wouldn't guarantee the same types of results, but you can start experimenting with them. With that, I'll just give you, the last 2 minutes of the session back to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking with us for the last 3 hours. We hope to see more of you in our upcoming sessions. Thank you, Khaldun, for hosting the session and co-moderating it with me. Thank you, Elsa, for taking the time to be here with us today. Thank you, each of you, for being here. Yes, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Oshan, go to bed, get some sleep, and to all of you, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.